All right, so since Dan Stevens is playing all these wild, wacky characters this year, I feel like this is the perfect time for me to go tell you guys to watch Legion, the FX X-Men spin-off show. If you've never seen Legion, him and Aubrey Plaza are having a weirdo off, and it's the most spectacular fucking thing you've ever seen. Seriously. It's a literal nerd's orgy type of wet dream. Legion is damn good. And you should also go see Cuckoo in theaters because it's one of those movies that personally the performances are better than the movie itself, but it's still worth a watch. So let's review. This is Cuckoo. Hey guys, it's your guy in the chair here, and this is my review for Cuckoo, starring Hunter Schafer, Dan Stevens, Jessica Henwick, Kaylin Morrow, and it was directed by Tillman Singer. And our story, just as plainly as I can put it, basically follows a young girl who moves to this resort town with her dad and her stepmom and stepsister, basically ran by Dan Stevens, and weird shit starts to happen as if not as if, but she starts to be followed by this hooded woman who can make these wailing sounds that do a lot of weird shit to the girls in the town and just make them do a lot of weird things and just feel a lot of weird ways. Basically, the best way to sum this movie up is Hunter Schafer moves to a town, weird shit starts happening, we gotta figure out why. That's the best way I can put that. I'm so sorry if that's a shitty way to describe the plot, but there's no need to make it overcomplicated because neon films tend to just want to make things a little more complicated than they need to be. But look, straight into what I liked and what I didn't like about the movie. I'll say this, like I said in my intro, this is a movie, a pivotal example of the performances are a lot better than the movie actually is. For me, and I'll kind of guess, I'll teeter back and forth between what I liked and didn't like. While the performances were very strong, the story for me just never grabbed me the way I wanted it to. I was never fully invested. And the thing about horror movies and thrillers and things like that are the stories and what is going on has to kind of keep you on the edge of your feet, keep you feeling that tingly goosebump feeling of like you really want to know what the hell is going on. And there's always there's always like a creepy surrounding feeling tone around the entire movie itself, and that's just what makes horror movies so good. I felt like this movie had like an inconsistency with that. Like it would feel creepy at times, then it was just really go from like creepy to just dive into like really silly territory. Like it kind of just bounced back between being creepy and really silly, and it just never worked for me fully. But as far as the performances go, those are amazing. Look, Hunter Schafer, knew this in Euphoria, knew this by Hunger Games because Tigress didn't even get a lot of screen time and Hunter Schafer killed that. But you'll know definitely by the end of this movie that Hunter Schafer is a rising star and somebody you need to know because my goodness, you didn't have to get me up. I'm sorry, I said somebody you used to know, so now I just had to get that off my chest. But Hunter Schafer is absolutely brilliant in this movie. I will not deny that for a single second. Hunter Schafer is the main reason I was invested in this movie anyway because her performance is just so damn good. She literally demands your attention. I won't lie to you. Like, she is doing very good with this character. I really enjoyed her as Gretchen, or as Dan Stevenson's, like, I think he liked to call her Gretchen, whatever. However he pronounced it. It was really funny. Dan Stevens, again. You can always, the good thing about watching Dan Stevens on screen is that you can always tell this guy's having a great time playing these roles. He loves playing these wacky, weird roles, and he is just always having the time of his life. I loved watching Dan Stevens in this movie. Again, he made it a lot of fun, and he is not a bigger reason than Hunter Schafer, but he is a very big reason of why this thing is so entertaining in the first place. Like I said, I am mainly here for the performances themselves because the story itself just really segues into some weird shit. And while it makes sense, it just never really worked for me. It's kind of like a mixture of Get Out and A Cure for Wellness. If you've ever seen that movie, it kind of just mixes those two elements together, and it works, but then, like I said, it becomes really silly at times, and it just never balances that very well. But the characters in this movie are amazing. The person, Jessica Henwick, who plays Beth, the stepmom, she did a really good job. Martin Scorsese, however you say his name, he did a very good job as well as the dad. I thought he had very good parts in the movie as well. The little girl, and I don't know the actress's name, so forgive me, but the little girl who plays Hunter Schafer's stepsister, amazing. And what this movie does very well, or I'll say what this movie did really well as far as the sister dynamic, the way, I won't necessarily go into spoilers, but there is a moment in the film where it really highlights the relationship between the two sisters in a way that wasn't shown before. It's very beautiful. It's a very heartwarming moment. But it did something very similar to It Ends With Us did. So in It Ends With Us, I just felt like with the message and the heart of the movie it just kind of got overshadowed by all the silliness and the mixture of romantic tones in that film. In this movie here, once you get to that sister dynamic and the heart of what this movie is, it kind of, again, gets overshadowed by all the silliness and creepiness happening in the beginning, because it just reveals that it was kind of another movie at the same time, or it's trying to be all these different things at once. But Cuckoo did it in a much better way than It Ends With Us. But look, if that makes sense, hopefully it does. But look, regardless, guys, Cuckoo is a very weird neon-esque thriller. That's the best way to put it. It has some great performances. The story itself, like I said, the sister dynamic is one of the most beautiful things that happens in the movie. Beyond that, the ending gets really wild and wacky, but I'll say this, it never escapes from that back and forth shift between creepy and silly. So the wackiness that happens at the end of the movie, I'll say I'm not completely surprised by, but overall, it was cool. It was a movie that I had higher expectations for. It didn't necessarily meet those expectations, but the performances are worth seeing this movie alone, or are worth alone seeing this movie. I don't know. See the movie because the performances are just that good. And honestly, if you like horror, you'll probably get something out of this. This isn't one of the best horror movies I've seen this year. Honestly, I think horror this year has just been okay, except for Late Night with the Devil and a few others, The First Omen. But other than that, this is just another okay entry into the 2024 horror catalog. And for all those reasons and so many more, I'm going to give Cuckoo a 3.25 out of 5 stars. All right, guys, so Cuckoo, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Look, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff and so much more. Look, I really do appreciate it. This is your guy in the chair. More content coming to you soon.